Hello, my name is Michael Hartman and I'm a licensed mental health counselor. It's good to have you here today. In this video, we're going to be going over how to handle your child when they're tantruming or getting out of control. And this is a big thing for parents because it's obviously one of the most stressful things a parent can go through, especially when their kid really knows how to kick, scream, tantrum, fight. Oftentimes I hear parents tell me this behavior occurs after a child is told no, limits are set, after the child gets into trouble, and maybe they're a bit oppositional to your authority as a parent. There's a wide variety of things that can cause this behavior to occur. Now, what are the steps we should take when the child starts to tantrum, get fussy, upset, maybe even starts to fight? Step 1, noticing your child is becoming upset. Like I said before, children, when they get into trouble, some of them will start to fight against authority, will start to kick and scream, rumble a little bit. And it's important to know that, just like any of us, adult or child, we don't like to get into trouble. Getting into trouble and not getting our way is probably one of the most upsetting things in the human condition. Some people can handle it well. Some people have issues with that. Children especially are prone to having issues with limits being set on sugary stuff, on playtime, on rules in the house. So, it's important to know that when your child starts to rev up their behavior or escalate, they are challenging the authority, right, of your right as a parent to set the rule, and they're trying to see if they can get back what they just lost. So it's important to recognize that. 2, check yourself and take a step back. So this one's super important for parents to recognize. A child, they may not know on a conscious level what they're doing when they get all upset, when they start to yell, scream, kick, fight, etc. Right? They may not know on a conscious level, but the function of that behavior is to get you upset. Now, how do things usually go? Well, let's give an example. I'm walking into the shop with my son. Son sees a big lollipop, like one of those big ones with the swirl in the middle, says, "Dad, can I have that?" And I'm like, "Son, no, we're not going to get that. We're trying to eat less sugar, or we have candy at home." Whatever the reason is. No, I'm the parent. I have the authority to say that. So the child can get upset. "Oh, I'm so upset. You never get anything from me, Daddy. But it's so good. I need it." Whatever the vocabulary is that they would use. Some kids know more advanced and even more cutting vocabulary, or they use with their tone, right, a more screechy type of sound. And by the way, adults are programmed not to like children crying or getting upset, right? So let's say that was happening. My son in the stroller was giving me some issues, and I'm like, "Oh God," and I start to get irritated, mad, upset. The irritation, the anger starts to come up inside of me. It might lead me to go say, "No, put it down," or "Stop," a real yell, right? And what would happen after that, at least for me and some of the parents I know, this yelling or the expression of anger in the supermarket, right, would create almost like a guilt trip where, you vented it out and, now you're feeling bad. So now the chances of you actually giving in, because now you're feeling guilty, and now giving the lolly to the kid has now gone up, because now you're feeling guilty that you lashed out, and I'll give it to him. He got his lashes, his punishment, so to say, and now, you get the lolly. But what does that teach the kid? Well, if I get upset, right, I yell, okay, I'm going to get yelled at back, right? But after that, daddy's going to get a little bit, daddy's going to get, going to give me what I wanted. They may not understand guilt or anything like that, doubtful, but they'll know, let me press daddy and daddy's eventually going to give in. It may be a rocky road until it gets there, but daddy's eventually going to give in. When you reward that type of behavior in a child, and you reward them enduring a yelling or a hollering, right? They're going to, unconsciously, almost in a reinforced fashion, get triggered that, oh, I want the lolly. Let me make daddy or mommy mad. Also, this happens in, a wide variety of circumstances where our kids press us. They know like that, if I just up the ante, I'll get what I want. I'll holler, I'll kick, I'll scream, I'll throw my toy, whatever, right? They have to be shown that, like, hey, no, that's not okay. But like the caption said, we have to check ourselves. As they say in the show, check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? We have to check ourselves to know what emotions our children's actions are causing to rise up in us. So in my example, it was frustration, it was anger, it was maybe like anxiety, like, oh, people are seeing me at the supermarket, my kid's yelling, right? And, we have to become self-aware as to, how our kids make us feel. And if the situation calls for it, try to take a step back and a bit of self-care in ourselves, right? So that we can, take a second, recompose ourselves so that we're less likely to yell. Now, I'm not saying that we're perfect, and I've yelled my fair share in response to stress as well. I mean, this is human, but by starting to recognize the patterns and starting to know, okay, little Timmy's, going to do this way, and it's going to make me upset after he screeches. Knowing to expect that, you'll gain a bit of mindfulness and a bit of mastery over how you feel. You might need to take some deep breaths when you're talking to Timmy. You might, if you're in the house, you might need to go to the bathroom for a second, if little Timmy isn't writhing around, hurting himself or anything like that, just to take a deep breath, disconnect for a sec, then come back. It's all right to take a pause. It's all right to take a pause when you're the parent, because you know what? If you're not composed, your kid's going to learn that if I'm not composed as well, I'm going to get what I want, which obviously we want to avoid teaching them that. And, oftentimes we don't intend to, but that's just what frustration can do to us. Step 3 and the final step, proceed mindfully. Now that you know that, you're going to be perturbed by your child's, acting out, right? And you know how to take a step back, right? You're going to be able to proceed mindfully. You're going to be able to go into that situation with a bit more inner peace and knowing kind of the chess move your kid is playing against you to see if they can get the reaction. And then, you'll be able to navigate your child's, trap card, so to say. None of this is intentional or intentionally malicious on the kid's part. It's just what it is to be a kid. They test the limits all the time. They need a lot of repetition. And, that's important to recognize too. Kids need a lot of consistency in setting limits and boundaries. They're always testing the water. They're always trying to poke, like a hacker, trying to poke their fingers into the firewall and see what they can get away with. This is typical kid behavior. So, you're in it for the long haul as a parent. So knowing how to self-regulate and then proceed mindfully after something happens with your kid that causes a reaction in you, that's going to be a great asset to you going forward as a parent. And also it teaches the kid, right, that, oh, well, dad or mom is well composed and they handle things pretty well, and they're going to be able to model that behavior off of you. So they're learning actually how to regulate by you regulating your emotions as well. So there's a lot of different sweet points to using this strategy. I'm wondering, now that we're close to the end of the video, what works for you in calming down? Is it taking a few deep breaths before you talk to your child? Is it taking a step away for a moment where you can? Is it, when, they're tantruming, like, putting one headphone in, one of the AirPods in, and trying to have something as a distraction? That's not necessarily negligence. It's just a bit of self-care in the moment. All these things, are personalized. So I'm wondering what it is for you that brings you a bit of zen in what is seemingly a zenless and provocative situation with your child. That said, we're at the end of the video. I hope that you learned something and that this reinforces anything you've learned in your own sessions. Again, my name is Michael Hartman, licensed mental health counselor. It was great having you here, and have a very pleasant day. Take care, and bye-bye.